Have you ever been blindsided by someone you trusted completely? Someone you thought would never hurt you? That's exactly what happened to me. One moment I was living my ordinary, comfortable life, and the next everything changed because of a single photo I saw while my wife was away on a business trip. One image that ripped apart everything I thought I knew. This story isn't easy to tell, but I think it's important. If you've ever been curious about what happens when trust is broken, or how betrayal can sneak up on you when you least expect it, then stick around. And hey, if you enjoy stories about life and relationships, don't forget to hit subscribe for more like this. Our life together seemed normal, peaceful even. We had been married for 10 years. We had a comfortable home, shared routines, and countless memories. I loved her. I trusted her. When she packed her bags for another business trip, I didn't think twice. I didn't question the late-night emails or the weekend conferences. I never once doubted her loyalty. But trust, as I've come to learn, isn't as solid as it seems. It's fragile, built slowly over time, but capable of breaking in an instant. And for me, it shattered with one photo. It was a quiet evening. I was sitting on the couch, scrolling through my phone, half interested in whatever popped up on the screen. A couple of memes, a friend's vacation photos, and then something different, a post from a luxury resort. It was one of those ads they do to show off their place. Stunning ocean views, candlelit dinners, happy couples. You know the type. At first I barely paid attention, but then something caught my eye. There, in the middle of a slideshow, was a picture of a couple, a man and a woman, standing close, laughing together, their bodies leaning toward each other in a way that spoke volumes. My thumb froze mid-scroll. I looked closer to be sure. The woman wasn't just any woman. She was my wife of 10 years. She was smiling brighter than I'd ever seen, her arm casually resting on the man's shoulder, like she belonged there. I wonder if she knew she was being photographed. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding in my chest. Maybe it's not her, I told myself. But I knew better. Her face, her hair, even the dress she was wearing. It was all too familiar. There was no mistake. No cruel prank. It was her. For a moment, it felt like the world had tilted off its axis. My wife was standing in some tropical paradise with another man while I was here, at home, thinking she was at a business conference. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, to call her right then and there. But I didn't. Instead, I sat there, staring at the photo, feeling like my world had just been torn apart. I didn't confront her. Not then. I needed to think, to plan, to understand how the woman I trusted could look so carefree while breaking my heart. That night, as we lay in bed, I couldn't bring myself to confront her. Not yet. Instead, I decided to test the waters, to see if she would admit anything on her own. I turned to her, my voice calm, almost too casual. "So, how was your trip?" She didn't hesitate. The words flowed so easily, like she'd practiced them 100 times. "Oh, it was good. Busy, as always. We had back-to-back meetings with the clients. Then there was this dinner with the team, lots of networking." She even laughed lightly, as if reminiscing about something mundane. Her tone was cheerful, almost rehearsed. I forced myself to nod, to play along. "Sounds exhausting," I replied. Inside, though, I was crumbling. She spoke so confidently, so convincingly, weaving a story I might have believed if I hadn't already seen the photos. But now, her words were lies wrapped in a polished bow. And I sat there pretending to believe her because I needed more than just her casual deceit. The days that followed were like peeling back the layers of a mask she'd worn for years. I started noticing things I had overlooked before, small details that didn't fit. It wasn't just the trip. It was the late-night calls she'd take in the other room, always whispering and quick to hang up if I walked in. The periodic business trips, seminars, conferences, client meetings are all conveniently out of state. It was as if I had been blind for years, and now I could finally see, I thought. Every excuse she made now sounded hollow. Every reason to be away from home seemed like another opportunity for her to escape. I thought back to how she'd light up when talking about these trips. At the time, I chalked it up to her passion for work. Now I knew better. This wasn't about work. It was her chance to be free, to live a separate life, one where I didn't exist. But I stayed quiet. I needed to be sure. I needed her to reveal herself fully before I could act. Months passed, and life fell into its usual rhythm. At least, that's how it seemed on the surface. My wife was her cheerful, ambitious self. Then one evening, as we sat at the dinner table, she told me about a masterclass she planned to attend in a nearby state. It was a 2-day event, she said, focused on professional development. She smiled as she explained how important it was for her career. I listened carefully, nodding like a supportive husband. Inside, though, I was calculating my next move. I couldn't tell her not to go. If I even hinted at disapproval, she'd twist it into me being controlling or unsupportive. That's how it always was. Any disagreement about her trips would turn into an argument about trust or me holding her back. So, I simply smiled and said, "That sounds great. Let me know if you need help packing." But this was my chance. I realized this trip wasn't just another getaway for her. It was an opportunity for me to confirm what I already knew, to gather proof, to prepare for the confrontation I had been delaying for months. The next day, I made 3 decisions. First, I downloaded the photos to a secure folder and saved backups. I wasn't going to lose my evidence to a technical glitch or a mistake. Second, I contacted a lawyer. I didn't know much about the legal side of things, but I knew I needed to protect myself. The lawyer listened carefully as I explained the situation, and they advised me to start documenting everything. Third, and most importantly, I hired a private investigator, someone who could follow her during this masterclass trip and provide concrete evidence. I didn't want to rely on just photos from a stranger's social media account. I needed undeniable proof that would hold up in court if it came to that. Through it all, I kept my composure at home. I didn't act differently around her. I didn't bring up the photos or the trip. I smiled when she talked about her plans, and even helped her organize her travel arrangements. Every interaction felt like a test of my patience, but I knew it was necessary. The 2 days flew by, but they were some of the hardest days of my life. My private investigator kept sending me updates, and each one felt like a punch to the stomach. She did go to the masterclass, but the rest of the story wasn't as innocent as she'd made it sound. She stayed in the same hotel room with the man I'd seen in the earlier photos. I learned that he was a senior executive from her company. I knew people from the company, but I wasn't familiar with this one. I got photos and videos. They were laughing together at dinner, walking closely into the hotel, and then spending time together after the masterclass. There was no misunderstanding about this. It wasn't just a work trip. It was something else entirely. When she came home, it was like nothing had happened. She walked through the door, smiling and laughing, her voice filling the house. She put her bags down and started unpacking, looking completely relaxed. I stood there watching her, trying to keep my face calm while my heart felt like it was being crushed. She looked so normal, so happy. If I hadn't seen those photos and videos from the private investigator, I might have kissed her and asked about her trip like any other day. But I didn't. I couldn't. I just nodded and pretended to listen while I kept waiting for her to enter the bedroom. I had spread out the photos on the bed. She seemed to be delaying, so I called her into the room, and when she walked in, she looked at me, then at the photos. Her smile faded instantly. I didn't need theatrics. The photos spoke louder than any words I could muster. Her face went pale. She didn't say anything for a moment, just stared at the photos, like she was hoping they'd disappear. Then, her expression changed. Her eyes filled with tears, and she started shaking her head. She looked at me, her eyes wide with fear as if she had been caught stealing. But this was more than theft. This was a betrayal. "Where did you get these?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't answer. I just sat there waiting. She let out a shaky breath and sat down across from me. I don't know what to say, she finally managed. Her voice was uneven, and she avoided my eyes. It wasn't supposed to. She stopped, biting her lip, and for a moment, it felt like she was trying to gather her thoughts. Then the words started spilling out. It's been hard, she said. We've been distant. I felt like you didn't see me anymore. He listened. He made me feel important. Her voice broke as she tried to explain herself. It wasn't planned. It just happened. I know it was wrong. The tears started then. Not loud. Just quiet streams running down her face as she continued. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to ruin what we had. I didn't want you to hate me. I stayed silent, staring at her as she tried to justify the unjustifiable. I didn't interrupt. I let her words fill the air. She finally looked up at me, her eyes red and desperate. I still love you, she said. I never stopped loving you. Please, I'll do anything to fix this. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Her words didn't fix anything. They didn't erase the photos, the lies, or the betrayal. All I could feel was the weight of everything I thought we had, crumbling right in front of me. After our fight, I couldn't sleep. Every night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything that had happened. My mind wouldn't stop replaying the moment I showed her the photos. Her face, her tears, her words. It all played over and over like a broken record. I talked to a few friends about what had happened. Some of them told me to leave her. They said, "You can't stay with someone who betrayed you. Walk away, with your head held high." Others said I should forgive her, that forgiveness was a sign of strength. They said, "If you really love her, you can fix this." But none of them knew what it felt like to be in my shoes. None of them had felt the pain I was carrying. Their advice made sense, but it didn't make things any clearer for me. At the end of the day, the choice was mine, and I had to live with it. After spending days thinking about everything, I came to a painful realization. I couldn't trust her anymore. Trust is like the foundation of a house. Without it, everything else crumbles. Even though part of me wanted to forgive her, I knew deep down that I couldn't keep living with the constant fear of being hurt again. The evidence I had was clear and undeniable, and I decided to use it as the basis to file for divorce. But before going through with the legal process, I knew I had to take a step back for my own well-being. Staying in the same space with her would only make things harder for me emotionally. So I made the choice to move away for my peace of mind and to start healing from everything that had happened. To anyone going through something like this, here's what I learned. Betrayal breaks you. It tears apart everything you thought was solid in your life. But it also teaches you about yourself. It shows you what you need, what you deserve, and what you're willing to fight for. For me, it taught me my worth. And for that, I'm thankful.